You know, it's also good if we could go back with the Manhattan Project and nukes, and we could have a projection of, hey, maybe we should restrain some of this technology.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would try to do that. And so I am glad that people are at least attempting to restrain how much of this technology is being released and how overwhelming it is. Like I was talking with my wife the other day, just the idea of the smartphone. I think I discussed this with you briefly last time I was here. Just kids' access to smartphones, it rewires their brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rewires how they think. It's actually kind of dangerous to give them smartphones in many ways. And there was no real halt on that technology. When that technology for the smartphones came out, I don't remember any public service broadcast of like, don't give your kids smartphones.
I don't think they knew.
They didn't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was no move to restrain any of that technology. And maybe there should be. Maybe there should be a little bit more of a push to restrain some of this tech.
Well, there certainly should be a push to educate people about how powerful it is. And suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, all of it ramps up around 2012. All of it ramps up with ubiquitous social media use and when kids are growing up with phones.
Yeah.
And it fucks with their heads, man, in a big way.
1,000% when you sit at the table and you're texting the guy next to you.
I know.
That is actually weird to me, by the way. That is weird to me. It's just as weird as when I drive down the street and try to explain to my kids. There used to be, if we went through a neighborhood like this, there would be kids everywhere. Then they'd be in the street playing hockey. They'd be on the side of the road. They'd be everywhere. Now we go through, nothing. It's
10 years from now,
tumbleweeds.
they're going to have a cable hooked to the back of their head. They're going to
Were you,
plug in and hop on the dragon, fly through the universe.
Yeah, were you like designed to be a wild human? Because if I remember correctly, and I do, my parents just threw me out. They were like, "Get out of here, go play.
Yeah.
Get out of the house immediately.
That was
go
normal.
play."
You would go play with the kids in the neighborhood.
And we would go like steal the drinks out of their fridge with them,
Go
or
to
they
the
would come
woods,
over.
make a fort.
Yeah,
Yeah. Normal stuff.
light fires.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we were jerks.
Yeah, we were kids.
But we were kind of wild. You know,
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely a lot less of that today, but there's also the awareness of pedophiles and fucking
That's
creeps and people kidnapping kids. I have a friend of mine who he saved his kid from being snatched up and put in a van. He was at a park in Texas, and he was talking to some guy, and his kids were playing, and some fucking person pulled up in a van and jumped out and was moving towards his kid, and he fucking screamed and ran towards him, and the guy jumped in the van and took off. But they were literally about to snatch his 4-year-old up. Imagine if you're there and that happens, and you see the van. You have to chase the van that has your child in it. You have to find your car. Your car's parked in a parking lot. You have to figure out how to get to wherever that van was going. You have to explain to the cops. You have to remember what kind of van was it. Did you get the license
and
plate?
you have
I didn't.
seconds
Yeah,
while you're
you have
panicking.
Seconds. You have seconds. So people are freaked out, you know, and that's something people are way more aware of now, especially with the internet, than people were when we were kids. You know, when we were kids, you just got let out of the house.
It's true.
So it's also like they couldn't target you unless they went to the actual park itself. Now they're looking at like kids' social media profiles and knowing where the kids go. It's fucking God, it's so gross. Ugh. And if
So-
there's a case for the death penalty, that's where most people seem. And when I hear people arguing against that, and when I hear people saying things like minor attracted persons and that
God.
kind of crazy shit,
Maps.
I just saw an argument online yesterday. It was between some British guy who was arguing that children can consent. And it was the creepiest fucking argument, man. It was so crazy to watch.
It's amazing how far forward, too, those ideas come. When I was younger, there was an organization which did that called NAMBLA.
Yeah, I
You
remember that.
NAMBLA?
Yeah, North American Man-Boy Love Association.
God.
Ugh.
And, like, I remember, though, the first time I was introduced to that, to the concept of NAMBLA, I was watching TV with my dad, and it was like a news story that was on. And it was actually at a gay pride parade, interestingly enough. And they were running the NAMBLA guys out of the gay pride parade. Like the
The old school gays.
Yeah, they
The
were
normal
running them
gays.
out. They're like, we're not associated with these people. Get them out of here. And my dad's trying to explain this concept to me of what's going on because I was extremely confused. You know, like, what? I don't understand what's happening here. How do you explain that, though?
Right.
You know, you can't really explain.
Especially a kid doesn't even think about sex.
Yeah, of course.
And then you're telling them somebody wants to have sex with you. You're like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And he, you know, my old man sitting in his chair, he said something akin to like, they ought to take them all, put them up against the wall, and that's the end of them. And I don't really blame him.
If you have kids, that's exactly what you think.
Yeah, of course.
That's exactly what you think. Like, there's some people that are just unredeemable. You know?
Well,
people want to kidnap your kids or rape your kids. Yeah, that's unredeemable.
But now this concept moves forward to the maps, and now they're assigning it psychological profiling for minor attracted person. And you know what the argument is? The argument is, well, you want them to come forward so you can give them treatment. Now, you know, there's one treatment that works for this that is almost 100% effective. You can pull the stat right now if you don't believe me. It's called chemical castration. It's a real treatment for pedophiles. And it almost has a 0% recidivism rate after they've been chemically castrated. So their idea is they come forward for treatment. You know, my counter idea is, why not just chemically castrate them?
Yeah, yeah.
If you really were concerned about them going off and living a normal life.
And if they really want to get free of that horrible thing, whatever fucking human demon error that's inside of them that makes them do that, that's the way. And that also is the same medication that they give to children when they're hormone blocking.
Yeah. Which is equally disturbing for a different reason.
And disturbing how many people just accept it and support it. And you ask them, like, how much do you know about this? Like, what are you saying? You think children should be able to make the decision when they're 4 or 5 years old to never go through puberty? You really think that? And there's people that will argue that with a straight face. They know. They know. I had an argument with a guy on this podcast years ago that's like viral about it. I'm like, that is like, if the child thinks that they are trans, right? If they think they're a woman, why not just let them be a woman? Why do you have to give them hormones?
And
like,
aren't
if you're
you
saying
going to stop the argument if the child thinks?
Right. Well, childs think that they're ponies.
Yeah.
I'm a pony.
Yeah.
Like, also, like, kids grow out of things, you know? Like, going through puberty is a fucking wild experience for a child. And the idea that you can come along and give them a bunch of positive reinforcement for saying the reason why you're upset is because you're actually a this, and we need to give you medication, or we need to stop you going through puberty. And the kid all of a sudden gets all this attention. Everyone's focused on them. They're telling them they're fabulous, and they really think there's a ton of these detransitioners out there, and their stories are horrific, not just in the fact that they did this to them and they removed their breasts when they were 15, they gave them testosterone, they'll never be able to have children, but also that they're attacked relentlessly by other people that think that they should never, that they are against the trans movement and they should never be saying what they're saying. They shouldn't be telling their stories.
They come out in force.
Yeah, it's
come out in
crazy.
force. They bully them, everything else that they can do.